Pac-Man! Pac-Man! Pac-Man!
Pac-Man!
Pac-Man!
Pac-Man. More like...
Pac-Man World 2 is back! And better than ever!
Pac-Man World 2 is back, and everyone is feeling it. I'm certainly feeling it if me shattering the fucking sound barrier over its announcement is anything to go by.
Get reacquainted.
Re-pac! What? What's even funnier about this is that this was immediately right after the trailer for a generic sports game that I was so whatever about. Like, talk about a fucking tonal shift. Damn. Well, it's time for a more level-headed discussion. It was pretty inevitable that we would be seeing World 2 get the Re-pac treatment, but it's still pretty damn surreal, and as to be expected, it looks fantastic, both visually and how it's expanding on the gameplay experience. Like, oh man, where do I begin? There's a lot to unpack. Pun semi-not intended. Let's start with something big. Voice acting.
Oh, how about a quick snack?
What? Yes, they've taken the feedback to heart, as the gibberish of World 1 Re-pac isn't here to be seen, and the characters are voice acted like they were in the OG Pac-Man World trilogy. Let me stress that scrimbler dialect isn't an issue in most other platformers, but that's usually because it was a style they started off with, as is the case with Banjo. But Pac-Man World had voice acting to begin with, so it was jarring for Re-pac to scrap it. But here, it's made its glorious return. But it gets even better, as not only are the Ghost Gang, Professor Pac, and everyone else voiced, but Pac-Man also talks too! This is a big deal, because I never thought I'd get to hear him speak in these games again! I thought he would remain mute for the sake of the brand image. But nope, he speaks again, and even better, he's voiced by Martin T. Sherman, his voice from Pac-Man World 3. The best voice he's ever had. The one that's the fan favorite. Brought back for a remake of the fan favorite Pac-Man platformer. Talk about a three-hit punch. Going from voice acting to Pac-Man talking to Pac-Man being voiced by Martin. It really shows how much care is being put into this. They took a criticism from Re-pac 1 and went above and beyond in addressing it. And so much of what we've seen compounds into that fact. It also, in general, just seems like they're going above what Re-pac 1 did. Going further with the level design, expanding upon it with new sections, new hazards, and even potentially new enemy types, as seen through the Pac-Bears that are inside the hot air balloons. Possibly inspired by the concept art of the ghosts riding inside hot air balloons. The gimmick levels, like Blade Mountain, and the water stages are getting heavily revamped too, as Blade Mountain features new hazards and even possibly has ghosts on sleds that'll ride down alongside Pac-Man, like with what I suggested how I'd do it in my World 2 Re-pac video. The water levels seem to have freeform control as opposed to being on rails, if Pac-Man's movement and correlation to the level design and collectibles is of any indication. And that's really cool. I'm excited to see how stages like Yellow Pac-Marine and Haunted Boardwalk play out. And just like with Re-pac 1, they are revamping the bosses, and they look to be really exciting, having cool second phases where the golden fruit are utilized. Also, Inky and Pinky are getting entirely new mechs, which obviously is a no-brainer, but I'm just excited to finally get good fights with them that are actually unique from one another. Inky's owl looks cool, and Pinky's arena seems to be an icy hill, possibly taken from the scrapped beta version of Blade Mountain. Which means my idea for Pinky's fight, utilizing the ice skating gameplay and being a race that I talked about in my previous Re-pac 2 video, might actually be a reality. Now, let's just see if her mech ends up being a river ram. We've only seen 2 of the fights so far, so my imagination is running wild, especially with Spooky. His fight is definitely going to be crazy. Speaking of Spooky, they did his design justice, remaining faithful but incorporating a more metallic look to his chest and helmet to give him a knight-like appearance. This might be the best he's ever looked, though I'm mixed on his voice. Then again, it's probably the fact that he's missing that Darth Vader-ish echo filter his voice had in the original. Hopefully the final version adds that, but otherwise it's a fine performance. Also, I love the detail of those purple thorns covering Pac Village, presumably after the ghost-free Spooky. A nice little bit of visual storytelling. Taking that into account, as well as the increase in voice acting, it seems that this game will be slightly more story-driven than the original, which looks promising. Will the writing be as good as World 3? Probably not, but still, this is exciting. The cutscene direction looks to be better than pre-Pac 1's, though of course we still aren't on the level of the originals FMVs, but hey, improvements are improvements. I'm still kinda mixed on the Re-pac art style, but that's mainly just in relation to how these games are as remakes and in comparison to the originals. Since World 2 had the wacky jagged aesthetical style that really thrives on that Y2K feel, and I can imagine trying to replicate and improve that style might be tricky, and honestly I appreciate this alternative take on World 2's environments. It still captures the vibe just in its own way, and seemingly the graphical fidelity has somewhat evolved from Re-pac 1. Environments like the treetops and the volcano stand out as particularly gorgeous. Now, I knew that they were going to rework 100%, however, I really like the approach they're taking. Having a mission system similar to Kirby and the Forgotten Land, where you have a set of objectives at each level, this is a far better approach than just allowing the player to go back for any singular collectible they missed. Also, I forgot to put this in the script, but yes, scoring is playing a big part in this, which, again, is something I really hoped they would do with a World 2 Re-pac, since scoring didn't really matter that much in the original. It's also something I mentioned in my How I Make a World 2 Re-pac video, so yeah, that's really nice that they're doing that. You know, I did say that Kirby and the Forgotten Land did give me Pac-Man World vibes, so I see this as pretty fitting. Also, unlockable cosmetics? Fuck yeah! Something I really wish Re-pac 1 had, and well, this game is doing it. The fits we've seen so far look really good. They even have one based off of Pac-Land, which looks so good. And there's also a Talkman skin if you already have Re-pac 1, and I'll be using that for sure. This opens up the possibility for fits based off other Pac-Man games. I mean, we did get Shuttle Labyrinth recently, so we could see ones based off number 8 Puck, or even. Also, Bamco seems to not be that ashamed of Ghostly Adventures in recent years, so I can see Paxer being a skin. Or maybe we can get one based off of the Pac-Man party design. They could do ones based off his character models from the original World 1 and 2. They could also do other Namco characters like Klonoa, Tezo Hari, Mr. Driller, Lloyd Irving, just to name a few. Okay, I just realized they could do the funniest thing. Like, come on, Bamco, bring on the Dr. Pac-Man representation. Come on, do it. You gotta do it. Also, I thought of another funny thing they could do. Okay, I'll stop right there. But then when would I get to talk about Pac Village? Which isn't much bigger than the original, but they're expanding on it by having new NPCs and even a scenery customization feature, like with the Overworld and Museum Plus. Taking that aspect of Museum Plus and applying it to Pac Village is genius. Like, I hope whoever came up with that got a raise. There's also multiple exits that lead to the different levels, and it seems like an environment you'll be revisiting often. Very similar to what was planned with the beta version of Pac Village. The overall level select map looks to be easier to navigate than before. Pac-Man's movement is falling in line with Re-pac 1, which means yes, the initial butt bounce delay is still there, which is unfortunate, but they are adding on to the butt bounce with a super butt bounce maneuver, which I'm not sure how it's activated, but it extends the hurt box of the butt bounce and bounces you higher. This looks like it'll be a fun move. The flip kick seems to be getting more of a use, and the Pac.throw is back! There's also going to be a call-out feature, but it's along the lines of what Mario Galaxy 2 had. I think the second player being another Pac-Man would have been better, but the fact that this is even here is still cool, and it also makes for a funny little connection to Shuttle Labyrinth. Yeah, we have 2 Pac-Man games released in a row where you get followed by a little robot orb. And yeah, I don't think I have much more to say, other than I'm hyped as fuck. I mean, I guess there's also the fact there's gonna be collaboration DLCs, which will also feature new levels too. Yeah, a Pac-Man World 2 remake with the promise of new levels being brought in through DLC is crazy to me. Like, that's not something I would have expected. Also, I'm really curious about what those collaborations are gonna be. It's kind of funny how after I rendered this video for the first time, the day after they announced one of the collaborations as Sonic the Hedgehog with a Pac-Man track in Racing Cross Worlds, and a couple of Sonic levels in World 2 Re-pac as DLC. You know, if I hadn't had the intention to, like, go back, change some things last minute, and, re-render this video, I probably wouldn't have even bothered mentioning that, but, also the gameplay in the Sonic level looks really fucking interesting. Like, how the fuck were they able to transmit boost gameplay into the Pac-Man World formula? I don't know, it just... Oh, so I just realized this really is basically like my YouTube channel. This is like the ultimate culmination of everything. This is the culmination of my YouTube channel. And this really is my YouTube channel. What the fuck? If a year or two ago you told me that Sonic the fucking Hedgehog would show up in a Pac-Man World 2 remake, I would assume you would be smoking that dark mage crack. And of course I'd say no to any offer because crack is bad. But yeah, I'm not sure what else more there is to say. Re-pac 1 was a success. It was a launching pad for them to pull out their A-game with this remake. I am so ready. Though honestly, I don't think I could say it any better than the reaction I had upon seeing it in the Nintendo Direct, which honestly might be my most bombastic reaction yet. Honestly, I was surprised it blew up in viewership the way it did. It practically blew up my viewership in general, as I went from 1,400 something subscribers to 1,672 subscribers within the last 2 weeks. I'm quite thankful to all of you, and I'm glad so many of you loved my reaction and felt validated by it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, maybe the way I reacted was a bit extreme, but can you blame me? I was so 50-50 on the game showing up, and the fact that it did really threw me through a loop. To be this excited for something and to express that is so freeing. And honestly, I don't give a crap about what some cornball grifter has to say about me, my reaction to this game, or the type of videos I make. I'm honestly proud of my videos, even some of the shitty ones, and I will continue to be so as I pump out more and more, though I do want to use this as an opportunity to express my desire to branch out. Now, this channel has always been named the Numen from Pac-Land, but initially that was more of a title of identity, much like Fawful's Minion or Nick on Planet Ripple. Yeah, I've always intended to talk about Pac-Man, but my overall channel was to be more varied. It just happened that Pac-Man became the main thing I discussed, because those videos are the most successful, and hey, I don't resent that. The Pac-Man videos are always the most fun to make, but I do genuinely want to branch out. I mean, I'm definitely going to cover other Namco series, but even beyond Namco, there are games and series I want to cover. It won't be to the same extent as Pac-Man, but it's something I'm going to be doing. I do have the shitty obscure 3D platformer I really want to cover. Also, I still have to cover the rest of the Sonic series. Oh boyo! Lastly, I want to briefly mention Shuttle Labyrinth in regards to World 2 Re-pac, because boy, did that game get a lot of shit. And a lot of it was because it wasn't Re-pac 2. I had a rant planned at the end of my secret level video where I expressed my frustration with this particular bad faith take regarding it. I ended up not doing that because I was rushing the video. Regardless, I felt it was really stupid to imply Shuttle Labyrinth was taking away resources from a World 2 remake, when Re-pac 1 and Shuttle Labyrinth were A, done by different studios, with Shuttle Labyrinth being in-house and Re-pac being done by Now Pro, and B, Re-pac 1 and Shuttle Labyrinth starting development the same year. The fact we now have Re-pac 2 makes this particular issue people had with Shuttle Labyrinth all the more dumber in hindsight. Now, I'm not saying you're not allowed to have issues with Shuttle Labyrinth. There's plenty of things about the game that are worth critiquing, and I've beaten the game with over 40 hours on my save file, and I have opinions on the game. Are you fucking kidding me? Why does he have to get... Oh my god. Some good, some bad. What do I think overall? You'll have to wait and see. I will say though, if you really wished Re-pac was done in-house at Bamco, and think that that would have allowed for a bigger budgeted game, I'm gonna reassure you, Pac-Man World has been done justice by Now Pro, and is continuing to be done justice by Now Pro. I think it's great that we have a side of Bamco that can give us the world games we like to see, while there's another side that gets experimental and wacky. This balance between world games, maze games, and experimental stuff is something I had hoped the series would go back to for a long time. And well, here we are. Sure, the quality has been hit or miss, but at least the part I like the most, the world games, are being done with care and passion. However you feel about either World 2 Re-pac or Shuttle Labyrinth, I still think it's really awesome that we've gotten 2 major Pac-Man releases this year. Definitely puts this anniversary a league ahead of the 40th. I'll be covering both of these games in a single video, much like how I covered Re-pac 1 and Museum Plus back in 2022. But yeah, I said everything I wanted to say. Gonna give a shout out to DG Magi, who gave me a mention in his World 2 Re-pac video. Glad to see you're just as excited as I am, buddy. And of course, I once again gotta thank all of you who have showed up because of the reaction video. And just like when Re-pac 1 was announced, I want to thank Bandai Namco for making this a thing. You've done us good. That said, you're still not exempt from criticism. I still gotta talk about the whack shit you did with Dig Dug recently. But that's for another day. For now, I'm gonna pack it up, and until next time, I will see you all later.